As I was doing my research today, I got an epiphany which I believe you will find quite insightful. It appears that there are like three things that are most important to all cryptocurrencies. And this also applies to stocks, by the way. The first, and this is not in any order, is the price. The second is the adoption, and the third is the architecture. Now, an increase in the price brings hype. That hype can lead to adoption. With adoption, you are most likely going to get an increase in price. So these two are very much linked. Now, the adoption we're talking about here is not about people buying the crypto. You can think of it more like a company that offers goods and services, yeah? The adoption in that case would be people buying the goods and services of that company. In the crypto realm, that will be people using the services of that particular crypto. So it's not about people buying the coin. That's not the type of adoption I'm talking about. I'm talking about people using the crypto. Now, it's important to note that the price can increase regardless of the adoption. A good example would be Cardano in the last cycle that went up to somewhere around $94 billion by market cap without smart contracts. So the price does not need adoption to go up, but with it going up, it could lead to more adoption. And adoption can also come with a very low price, and that will most likely affect the price and move it to the upside. Now, let's talk about the architecture here. What does this have to do with anything? You see, all these cryptos here are not just here for fun, they are here to offer some type of service. Bitcoin is here for decentralizing money, a peer-to-peer means of payment without any third party. Ethereum is here for decentralizing applications. We can think of banks or lending and borrowing platforms, NFT marketplaces, DAOs or decentralized autonomous organizations. And USDT is also here, which is actually a dollar-backed stablecoin. So that's here so that you can use it to buy any other crypto that you want. XRP is here for, well, they say cross-border payments. BNB was an exchange token, but now it's its own whole thing, yeah? They call it the Binance Smart Chain, so it's kind of like Ethereum in a way. But you get the point. They all are here to offer services. The question is, how built are they to offer those services? And that's where we get to the architecture. Now, at the very start of Bitcoin, its price was less than a cent, but now it's $110,000. There was no adoption, and the price was really worth nothing. So in this, our table here, at the starting point of Bitcoin's journey, it did not have these two. It only had this. So as we've already mentioned, Bitcoin was built to be a means of payment between one person and another without needing someone else. And this is how it normally works. You have they right here, and he wants to send money to Jane. But they can't directly send money to Jane. He has to send the money to a bank. That bank communicates to another bank that, hey, would you bother giving Jane this money? And this bank gives the money to Jane. So this guy, or the banks, are now a third party in this transaction. Now, they won't do this for free, yeah? They'll not just say, oh yeah, let me help you give your money to the Jane. No. They'll take a fee for this transaction. So we have fees for this, and very expensive fees at times. Now, depending on the amount, this bank may even freeze the entire transaction and say, so you're sending Jane $100,000. Where did you get $100,000? We're going to stop this transaction until we know where you took $100,000. So they will freeze the transaction. That's how much power they have over a transaction that they wanted to do with Jane. Now, one other thing, and there are many others, but we'll just touch on these three. This bank may not send the money to Jane at the exact time that they wanted to send the money to Jane. So let's say that Jane actually needs the money today. You go to the bank, they goes to the bank, and the bank is like, the money will arrive next week. Yeah? And you can't do anything about it. Every other bank will say, well, in 2 weeks. And another will say, well, in 3 days. And you choose to go with the 3 days. But could there be a solution that is instant? So time is another problem here, and there are a whole slew of other problems, yeah? Let's just say that they want to travel to some other country or something like that, and they're like, you can't come in with more than $10,000 here. It has to be maximum 10,000. And anything above that, we'll confiscate it and you'll have to prove to us how you got it. Yeah. And there are a whole lot of other problems, but let's just stick to these three right here. All right. So Bitcoin comes in as an alternative to these guys right here. So instead of sending the money to the bank, where they will therefore decide if they are going to send it to Jane, where you pay a lot of fees, they can freeze the transaction, and it may take a very long time, you use the Bitcoin network. We've talked about this before, but essentially how it works is they here authorizes the network to credit Jane's wallet with BTC that they has in his wallet already. So he just signs a transaction and deposits BTC in Jane's wallet. BTC that he had already. Yeah, so you can't cheat the network. Now, BTC being the currency of the network. With the network, the fees are lower. Fees being one of our problems here. No one can freeze the transaction. No single person on the network can freeze the transaction. And the time too is less. And many other problems like transportation, that is if you want to travel to some country with your BTC, that problem too is solved by the network. The question now is, how exactly is Bitcoin built to do this? Because all of this that we've been talking about is its value proposition. It's proposing that it will give this value. But how is it built to deliver that value? That is the architecture. Now, a lot of cryptos like meme coins, they don't need architecture or adoption. They only need their prices to go up. But if we are looking for something that could be potentially as big as Bitcoin or Ethereum, we must put a lot of emphasis on its architecture. Like if we could go back in time to 2009, Bitcoin was launched 2008, was actually designed and implemented in 2007. But if we could go back in time to 2009, it wouldn't be wise to think of Bitcoin's price or its adoption. It would be wise to focus on how it's built for the type of value that it's proposing. Yesterday, I posted this on TikTok and it was just like photos and a lot of people did not see it. But here are actually some questions that someone was asking Satoshi Nakamoto, yeah? Just like someone in the forum. So this person was asking Satoshi Nakamoto, and here, the 12th question, you'll see that the person was asking, are there any other exchanging systems or potential payment partners except for New Liberty Standard? And Satoshi Nakamoto replied here, that's the 12th answer, there are more coming. I mean, there were even people saying that Bitcoin will survive, it will bounce back. And I was like, So the exact same sentiment that we get now with, altcoins generally, these are not new. Everybody else in the early Bitcoin days felt exactly the same way we feel now with most altcoins. But anyway, this was a long rant, and I do this from time to time, but these are the three things that I think are the most important for all cryptocurrencies. If we want to potentially catch the next Bitcoin or the next Ethereum, the next whatever, something that can do maybe 10,000x, we must be focused here at the architecture level. Because if the price has already done, say, humongous numbers and it has adoption already, then we are not early. You need the price at near zero. It should have done nothing really. And you shouldn't have any adoption. You should have like little to literally no adoption. And you focus only on this. So the first thing under the architecture is the value proposition. What is it saying that it's trying to accomplish? What value is it trying to bring? And then you look at the niche. Does the niche have some big players that are already successful, like really successful, both by price and by adoption, and also by the architecture? Do they have the best architecture for that niche? Now, if they do not, if you believe the main project in that niche is really just hype, then the one you're looking at could potentially be a good player. But if that niche already has a good player like Bitcoin, then you may not want to waste your time. But essentially what we are saying is if you want to catch the next big thing, you must not focus on the price nor the adoption. You must only focus on the architecture. Is it better than those that came before it? If it is, then that may be a very good play. When everyone else realizes that, yes, this thing was actually great, then the price will go up, adoption will go up when you are already in it.